Hello, everyone. Happy Infertility Awareness Week. I am Dr. Vita coming to you again with a special guest. We have some awesome stuff that we're going to talk about today. First off, I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Vita. I help women who have fertility issues, who have PCOS, fibroids, irregular menstrual cycles, you name it. I am the girls' reproductive health coach. All right, so today we have Michelle. Michelle is going to talk to us about CBD and fertility. And Michelle is the executive director at Medical Marijuana Inc. And so, Michelle, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Hi, Dr. Vita. Thank you so much for inviting me to do this, and just thank you for raising awareness to infertility and women's health issues. I wish I had found you 15 years ago when I went through my own little infertility journey. So yes, my name is Michelle Steiner, and I have been with Medical Marijuana Incorporated for almost 5 years now. I keep saying 4, but we're actually a whole year ahead. So I have been with them for 5 years, and I do a lot of educational lectures and talks for this, and I'm a big advocate for this plant. I do a lot of global lectures, and mainly the last 2 years I've really focused on the medical community because they need education. Not everybody is fully aware of this plant and the benefits that it can hold. So I'm really trying, and I do have a medical background. I worked at Montefiore Medical Center for 25 years prior to having my baby. So my heart is in helping people and educating people. And now I have shifted over to this plant because it's a very misunderstood plant and it's a very misunderstood industry. So I have really devoted my time to this plant and educating and helping people with its benefits, mainly medicinal.
Absolutely incredible. So you touched on that your passion is with educating people about this plant. So tell us exactly what you do. So you go around giving classes, or do you sell products? What are some other things that you do?
Oh, I do. Yes, the whole kit and caboodle, Dr. Vita. I started out, as a cannabis user myself, and I know we'll touch upon that, for my own personal reasons. And I just fell in love with its benefits and what it did for me. So I sell products. I help people break into the industry if they want to, because a lot of people are like, whoa, I want to get in on this. I don't know where to go. So I help people launch a CBD business, their own franchise. May you have it. I do a lot of global lectures. We are in 45 different countries. So prior to COVID, I was traveling a lot and giving lectures, and like I said, I had a 200-person lecture lined up at one of our local hospitals, and bang, it got smashed. So we do Zooms.
Amazing. So you said that you also sell products. Are these products that, is this your company that sells the products, or is there a company that you're referring people to buy products?
Yeah. No, I'm an independent contractor with the sister of Canaway, and they have been around since 2012, and they're actually the company, particularly Dr. Stuart Titus, who is the founder of the company. He's the one that broke the barriers. He broke the stigma, broke the barriers, and he is the one that got this company launched in 2012 and got us into 45 countries, where a lot of them were like, oh no, we want nothing to do with cannabis. And he explained what it is, what it can do, and they said, come on in. So yeah, so I do a lot of work, with them. And then I do, like I said, a lot of the lectures is my own stuff, but my primary focus is working with this company because, why work for a company and not create my own? There's so many different reasons, the financial, the liability, the startup fees. I mean, marijuana just became legal here in my hometown of New Jersey, and I looked into it, and I don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. And I also stand behind this company. I did my due diligence, and we are the only company that is listed in the physician's desk reference. So that means a lot to me that we are considered medicine in so many different countries. And their seed to soil sale, where they grow their hemp. That's super important. Make sure there's no pesticides in it, and that the fact that they have that hemp certification. So this truly was the only company that I personally would align myself with.
Okay. All right, so let's get into the nitty gritty, Michelle. What is CBD?
What is CBD? So CBD, first of all, let me start by saying it is not marijuana. It will not get you high. You could drink an entire bottle of it and it will not get you high. So CBD stands for cannabidiol, and it's the second most active ingredient of cannabis, marijuana. While CBD is an essential component of medical marijuana, it's derived from hemp, the hemp plant, which is a cousin of the marijuana plant. And they're two completely different plants. I always say you've got limes and you've got lemons. Yes, they're both citrus. They have very different properties. So CBD derived from hemp, the hemp plant grows very tall in length and has over 50,000 industrial and medicinal purposes. It's high in CBD, very low in THC, and the THC can actually be extracted out of it as well. Marijuana grows short and bushy. Really, its only property is THC. It does not hold the medicinal benefits that the hemp plant holds, and it does not hold the industrial benefits. They always say back in the 60s at Woodstock that CBD hemp, when they would smoke hemp, it was the hippies' disappointment because they were high. So that is really the difference. One holds medicinal, one gets you stoned.
Okay, so what are the different ways that people use CBD?
Oh yeah, I love that. There's so many different delivery methods, from topicals to tinctures, vaporizers, edibles, skincare, which cleared up my skin. And my motto is, I always say, you can smoke it, you can drink it, you can eat it, you can rub it on you, just get it in you. And I do help people because we do have CB1 receptors, CB2 receptors. So for various things, do I take a capsule? Do I take a tincture? And that's where I really help guide people. They tell me their ailments, they tell me their purpose. And then I can say, okay, well, a sublingual oil will be best for your symptom, or go the capsule route. The topical, you can rub that everywhere. I love it.
Okay, this is interesting. Number one, I'm obsessed with skincare stuff, so that's probably the first route that I'm going to go with CBD. My question is, why is it so expensive? I was thinking, I'm going to maybe try out a CBD product and spend maybe $50, $60, but it's significantly more than that. So can you tell us why it's expensive?
Yeah, absolutely. How do you compare it? I guess a Mercedes to a Honda. You're getting what you're paying for. And look, to cultivate, to manufacture, to grow this plant is an enormous expense. And like I said earlier, I actually looked into getting my license here in New Jersey. And when I had to go through and I went through the farming and all of that, the machinery alone is millions of dollars to properly cut the hemp plant. Hemp it's thick. It's actually 30 times stronger than cotton. So you need the right machinery, you need the right farm, you need the right soil, and all of that is very expensive. And then a proper CBD will be put through a third-party testing. Again, that's another expense. Are there cheap ones out there? Absolutely. I can go to the gas station and buy a $30 bottle of CBD. How much CBD is in that? Probably zero. So why is it expensive? It's the quality. It really is. And it does take a lot. And, my personal thing is people are going out to Starbucks and spending $5 on a coffee that's giving you absolutely no health benefit whatsoever. So if you break it down to milligrams, the one that I'm talking about is really only 15 cents a milligram. So it's also, you have to make sure that you're getting, how much CBD you're getting in the bottle. Will the bottle last you a month? Or you're buying a little 1 ml bottle for $90 and there's no CBD in there, or it's just half mixed with other stuff. So good CBD, it's you want good quality. It's like, why is organic more expensive than non-organic? It's the process that you need to go through to make it that way.
Amazing. All right, so now tell us some of the health benefits of CBD. And I know you do some consulting and you work with other people and you recommend stuff. So just run us through some some major things that you've seen in your lifetime.
Oh my goodness, wow. There's so many benefits of CBD to talk about. Just to name a few, it can relieve pain, reduce anxiety, depression, alleviate cancer-related symptoms. They reduce acne, rosacea is like what I said. The big thing with our sports guys, it's a neuroprotective as well. It holds the properties that actually helps the brain. So we actually have a lot of football players, retired guys that are taking CBD to help with traumatic brain injury. And the latest thing that's really exciting me that I find I'm plugging myself more and more into is women's health and how CBD is being studied with women's health, because it is a neglected field. And that's where I'm actually starting to do a lot more talks and having conversations with people. And I was on with a panel last night of doctors just absorbing all the information about women's health and this plant.
So let's go ahead and dive into CBD for fertility. Actually, initially when I was talking to you, I was asking you, what does the research say about CBD and fertility? And then I just thought, well, why don't you just come on? We'll do a live and then you'll tell me all about it. So go ahead. What's been shown?
Absolutely. So look, to be 100% honest, there are not a lot of medical studies out there as of yet on fertility and CBD. So when I speak to you, I don't speak to you as a doctor or as a clinician. They are doing a lot of research on it, because don't forget, hemp is linked with marijuana. We still haven't broken that yet. So when you talk about infertility, they tell you, don't smoke weed. It's going to lower your sperm count. It's going to decrease your egg quality. They're talking about marijuana. So CBD really needs to be nurtured in this field. But I am going to talk to you just about my own personal experience with infertility. I'm 52. I do have 4 small children, thank goodness. But I was told I probably might not be able to have children. And I went through the whole infertility route. And so when we spoke, I said to you, gosh, I wish I had CBD when I was going through it. Why? To improve my egg quality, to help my husband's sperm? Maybe, but I'm not going to state that. The reason why I wish I had it is because my anxiety was through the roof. The pain, the tears, the disappointment of it all, and just composing myself and remembering the reason of why I want to have babies. And with infertility, you get lost in all of that. So where would CBD have helped me? Here. It absolutely would have helped me in a better state, and I may not needed to go through 10 in vitro processes and spent 100 grand. And even the stress between husband and wife, even if the husband takes this, because it was very stressful for my own husband to go through this, even though I'm the one going through it and the disappointments of it all, he's going through it too. And CBD again just would have brought us down to a level. And again, this is my personal opinion. This is not a medical opinion. And there is definitely research on the brink of this, that how CBD, like I said, they need to cut marijuana from CBD. And I just know that there's going to be a lot of research going on with it. I did acupuncture when I was going through infertility. And I think a combination of a whole different things, definitely could help a woman's psyche. And like I said, a lot of it is here, and you need to calm it down. First thing they say when you go to an infertility specialist is, you got to calm down. You got to calm your brain. I mean, I can't tell you how many vacations we took to try to calm my brain. And there's only so much a vacation can do. But they are studying this, and I'm following right beside them. Believe me, I was on with a woman's doctor the other night, like I said, and this is an area that they're going to really dive into because it is neglected, and this plant does not get enough attention when it comes to infertility and women's health.
Amazing. I'm so glad that you have your bundles of joy at the end of your journey.
Yeah.
Stress is a big thing. Being in this fertility space, a lot of people contact me in that 2 weeks that they're waiting to see if they're pregnant. I mean, women have anxiety attacks, and that doesn't help the process. So if your stress hormones are kicked up because you're stressed out with trying to conceive, you're not going to get anywhere. So that is a big component. So can you, in layman's terms, tell us how the CBD kind of calms our nerves or helps us with stress?
Absolutely. So we have, like I said, the medical journals aren't there yet for the women's health studies, but what is there is the ECS, our endocannabinoid system. That is a proven system in our body. We have these receptors. And prior to hemp getting taken off of the market, because prior to 1937, human beings would get about 55 milligrams of hemp daily. How and why? Because it was the law. The farmers had to grow at least 1/4 of an acre of hemp. So they fed it to our livestock, our chickens, our pigs, our eggs. Therefore, we wouldn't take it. And now, what do they get fed? Corn and hay. Complete GMO garbage. So we are depleted of hemp, and we have been since 1937. And we can get into that if you'd like to, how it all came back. But to answer your question, because this plant came back, we are now feeding, if we allow it. I always say CBD does nothing. Does absolutely nothing. What does do something is when you activate the ECS, and the only way to do that is to feed it cannabidiol. CBD. And once you do that, we have receptors all over. Neuroreceptors, we have them in our gut, we have them in our brain, we have them in our blood, and they're all over our body. It's actually one of the largest self-regulatory systems in our body. And an Israeli man is the one that discovered that. So once you feed those receptors, all of a sudden it activates it. And it's like, well, how can one plant take care of my anxiety and take care of IBS or nerves or something? It's such a smart plant. It knows where to go and what to do. Now, there are ways we can speed it up. Like I said, doing a tincture versus a capsule. That's why I like to question people, what is your main goal of this plant? So that's how CBD works in layman's terms. You feed it to your body, it goes to these receptors, the receptors are activated, and bang, there we go. And our bodies are no longer depleted. One thing I do want to mention, which is very interesting with a lot of the research that I have done on pregnant women taking CBD and lactating women taking CBD. And although there's no studies on it, I will tell you that CBD cannabis is found in mother's milk. So it's very interesting to me that you'll take a lactating mother and say, don't take cannabis. And again, I think this is the difference between marijuana and hemp, because we do produce CBD in our mother's milk, and our children are getting it. But I always tell women, if I have a pregnant woman that comes to me, I always tell her, check with your physician, because that's one area I'm not messing with. I've been pregnant, 3 times. I have twins, and you don't ever want to misguide a pregnancy. So I always say, work with your physician. And this is, again, my role, that I am trying to be that middle person between the patient and the physician, and I'm educating these physicians about this plant. And the more they're learning, the more they're educating. And just to put it out there, there are cannabis physicians. There's a whole lot of them. There's a lot of integrative physicians who believe in this plant, so they can be found.
Amazing. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So as we're concluding, I just want to hear a little bit about your story. How did you become such a big advocate for CBD?
Absolutely. I love telling my story. I don't have a big grand depressing story. About 5 years ago, when my kids were very small, my husband was traveling all the time, I found my anxiety was through the roof. And I did not want to go the medical route. I did not want to take antidepressants. I didn't want to take anti-anxiety pills. It's just not in my nature to do that. And I truthfully stumbled across a Facebook post of somebody saying CBD. And I was like, okay, I got to look into this. And I did. I started as a consumer. I started taking it. And I would say within about 3 weeks, and I start slow and steady. And that's exactly how I start any customer, very slow and steady. And I found myself on the brink of kind of being a little more focused and feeling better and less anxious with my kids. And then I just increased it a little bit. And that's where working with somebody is very important, because we can, it's not one size fits all. I may need 75, you may need 100. It's all based on feeling and how your body is responding. So probably about, 3-4 weeks in, all of a sudden, all I can say is it was like my world went from black and white to color, and I could see things, and it was amazing. And I could focus and be present for my children. My mind was not here. And then ironically, I've suffered from IBS my whole life. I actually had surgery in my 20s, and I noticed it was gone. And I had changed my diet. I did everything you possibly could do for IBS. And I was like, could it be? And that's where I was taking the capsules. So I don't give up my capsules. And then anything that works for me, or any good book I read, or any good restaurant I go to, I am the type of person that screams it loud and proud. So I can't scream enough about this plant that I made it my business. And it just kind of, word of mouth and talking to people. And they're like, oh my God, you're so chill. You're relaxed. Your skin looks good. What's going on? You're losing weight. And I said, I'm taking CBD. That's it.
Amazing. Okay.
That's all I'm doing.
Okay. So, a quick question. When people contact you, because I'm going to ask you to tell everyone where they can find you, do you refer them to the products and you give them like a consultation?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah, so when people reach out to me, they can get me through email or my Instagram account or Facebook. It doesn't matter. What I'll do is I'll spend time with them on the phone a little bit and see, well, why do you want to take CBD? What areas in your life are you looking to improve with this plant, or do you want to take it just because it's the in thing to do? And I like to find that question. And then I ask a series of questions. Are you taking any medications? Aside from why do you want to take, why do you want to do this? There are a series of questions, and some medicines do conflict with CBD. And so that's why it's important to really work with somebody. So yes, I do a consultation with them. And then after the consultation, I'll say, okay, this product is what I suggest. And then I stay on them, every 2 weeks. Like I said, I start slow and steady with them. So we start it, and then in 2 weeks later, I'm going to follow up with them, see how they're doing. Maybe we need to up it a little bit. Maybe we need to decrease it. Maybe we need to switch from a capsule to a tincture. People come to me for skincare. I'll give them a skincare consult. So yeah, and that's how people can find me, through email, Instagram, or Facebook.
Amazing. I am 100% convinced. So I will be reaching out to you again. I think I remember maybe 8 or 9 years ago, a company sent me something that had like CBD in it, but it was like a very small amount. And I remember the product was excellent, but I just never I don't know.
Right.
Never followed up with that company. So please tell everyone how they can get a hold of you.
Absolutely. I just want to add in one thing too. Even if somebody has a bottle of CBD, like what you just said, and they're unsure about it, send me a picture. I get pictures every day, and I can read the labels. And I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that hemp authority. I'm looking where it's grown. I'm looking, is it certified organic? So, also please feel free to just shoot me a picture of your label. You can find me at my email, which is Michelle, MICHELLE, B Steiner, STEINER @gmail.com. My Instagram is Hemp and Gems, HEMP and ANDGEMZ. And that's where you can find me on Instagram. And my Facebook is Michelle Steiner.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Michelle, for dropping this knowledge. And everyone, contact Michelle. I know I definitely, I've always wanted to learn more about this topic. That connection between CBD and marijuana is just, she's educated us so much about how they're completely different. And I'm not saying I have any issues with marijuana. It's just that it's not something that I consume. It's something that is illegal in my state, so it's illegal for me to consume it. So I will look into CBD and definitely will get a consultation with you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vita. This was amazing.
Thank you so much. So, hey, listeners and replay watchers, join us tomorrow where we will have Zeal, who is from Green Periods, which is an initiative that helps women have sustainable periods, tampons and menstrual pads and things like that. So we're going to talk to Zeal. And then we have an EMF specialist joining us on Saturday who's going to talk to us about low frequency radiation and how that affects our babies and our stomachs as well as our fertility. So join us same time tomorrow, same time the day after. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.